Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Welcome for Captain of Industry. Now many of you watch my YouTube channel as well, so you know that I've already taken a stab at this game, and while we didn't actually fail, it was getting to the point where I was getting frustrated with some of the stuff that I had done, some of the choices I had made, and I really didn't want to have to redo those things. Plus, we started on the basic island, which while it's easy to start on, it's small. So I did not, I didn't feel like I was going to end up with enough space, and I had laid stuff out weird and stupid, and I just wanted to kind of start over. And part of that, too, was that as I played through the game, I came to realize that this is not a YouTube type game for me. This is a stream type game for me. I need these longer sessions in order to kind of show some progress on some builds or in order to do whatever. So I think we're going to have a bit better luck here on stream than we did in the episodic method of YouTube. So hello everyone. Hello Ontario. Thank you for popping in. You have this game, but you have yet to play it. Slacking. Yeah, I know how that goes. I mean, I had it for a little while before by a little while, I mean a couple of months, I think, before I actually started playing it myself. There's just so many games this year, really in the past, year or so, that it's just hard to keep up. And I think, and someone mentioned, I mentioned that to someone, I can't remember who it was now. It might have been my coworker or something, and they said, well, if everybody's forced to stay home for a year with, COVID and whatnot, then maybe they're going to make some progress out of something and make some progress on a game, for example, especially if they were also unemployed during that time. But anyways, so we're going to jump into the game. Anyone who's here now can help me with the game settings. I want to play fairly easy. I don't want to be too complicated. I only made it through, I don't know, maybe half the game or something in YouTube, so I still want to kind of explore the game and get a feel for it. But at least for now, we can jump in and we can take a look at what there is as far as options and see what we want to do to get started with a new map. By the way, you can see that I do have another game here that I've been kind of playing on a little bit since the end of, or maybe before the end of the YouTube series, just to kind of see if I can experiment with some different builds and stuff. So I put the settings on super duper easy, and I'll talk about what I chose for that too as I go through the settings for this. So we have 5 different maps to choose from here, and I don't know if there's more planned. I assume there's probably more planned. The YouTube series started on New Haven. As you can see, it's a total of 2.9 square kilometers, 2.1 that are flat. So there's very few mountainy areas, which is good, which works really well, but it's such a small island overall. It's less than 3 square kilometers, so it's not that great. Plus, there aren't that many resources on it, so it's not that great for that either. The beach is almost twice as big. So right away there, you kind of get the idea, but there's less flat land. There's a lot more mountainy stuff and stuff like that. So it's a little bit tougher for that reason to get started, but I think we'll be okay with that as long as we kind of get going on it. And there's still more flat land here by almost by 1.5 times, more than 1.5 times than there was on this island. So there's still a lot of land here. So we could definitely potentially do this one. There's also quite a bit more in the resource department too. I think everything is like half again more, and sometimes double or even triple, except for limestone. But meh, limestone, who cares? You don't use that much limestone, and when you do use it, most of the time it's later in the game from what I've seen, and it ends up being more of a way to cheapen some of the other resources use. Like I use it as a filler kind of thing, based on what I've seen, especially from Bold Vikings playthrough of it. Because he just finished, I think, on Monday. I had to leave the stream before he actually finished, so I'm not sure if he finished or not. But I believe he finished on Monday. He was planning to finish on Monday. Or maybe he'll finish tomorrow. Thursday. We'll see. If not. Curland is the island he played on. I like the idea of it. It's definitely a large island here. The flat area is about the same, but the total size is much bigger. But this C shape of the island means that you end up having to go back and forth an awful lot. And I'm at least until you can get enough stuff to landfill the middle ocean, which you could do. So I don't know that I'm really going to do that one. Not interested in that one, I mean. The Golden Peak is small again, and so I don't want to do another small island. It's just barely any bigger total size than the starting island. And the flat area is just a bit bigger, so as well. So it's a really difficult island, as you can see here, and I'm not really interested in that type of island. And then finally, You Shall Not Pass. This one is experimental, so I'm definitely not going to do this one. So I think that leaves me with the beach as my strongest choice. As for islands, resource size, the standard resource size is as you see here, or we can adjust the resources. Now in that easy game map, I chose 100% increased, I think. I doubled the resources. I don't think that's quite necessary, but we could potentially increase the resources a little bit, just so that we don't have as much pressure. Let me know what you think about that. Otherwise, we could leave it at standard. That's fine. Resource elevation brings more of the resource up above the nominal ground level. I don't know exactly if they're talking about sea level as nominal or how that works, or if it's just talking about the ground level at which the resource is by default in this map. So you can raise it up by 4 or 8 meters or drop it down by 4 or 8 meters, thereby burying it deeper in the ground, which is an interesting concept. And then the forest size, you can increase or decrease the amount of trees on your island as well. Cliff height, these are talking about, I believe, the cliffs that are, let's see if we can expand this out. Yeah, there we go. The cliffs that are like here on the edge of the islands, and possibly as well with the mountains, but I'm not sure about that component. But you can see kind of here, these cliffs here as well. These are actually impassable at the beginning of the game. Hey, Jeff, welcome. Thanks for claiming first. These cliffs are all impassable at the beginning of the game, and you land here on the sand beach. So this one, you start here, and then you can get up onto this right away, and you can get into this area. So you can get to the coal here, you can get to all these trees, of course, and then you can get to the iron here, and you can get to the copper over there. There's limestone over here, I believe. And then everything else is, once you have excavators and things, you can then smooth out these cliffs to get up into these other areas as well. So that's cliff height, extra ocean chunks. This makes the map bigger. If you want to have more space to expand your island into by landfilling, I don't think I need that. And then finally, ocean floor decline is how far the ocean falls off, how quickly the ocean falls off from the edge of the island. So it's kind of your continental shelf, so to speak. So the only ones that I'm considering changing is the resource size by a little bit up. That's the only ones on the screen I think I'm considering changing. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on those. By all means, speak up. I'm not that worried about the elevation. I mean, we could bring it up, but I'm not that worried about it. It's just digging. We can dig. Can you dig it? But I think I would go maybe with a little bit more, just like 25% more. Not a lot more, just a little bit. Just to give myself a little bit more slides. So game difficulty is the next screen. You can click the tab or you can click the button. The Sailor, Captain, or Admiral are the 3 difficulty settings. And then from there you can adjust accordingly. I'm going to play on Sailor because we're still kind of learning the game. I mean, yes, I played through the first half, but I also want this to be, a little bit of a relaxed stream series, so I don't want to push too hard. But you can see kind of the difference here. Everything's on standard on Captain. Admiral gets most things more difficult, and Sailor gets everything almost easier. Quick repair is disabled in Admiral mode. Yeah, I'm not doing that. It would do it anyway. So we get a step up on the starting materials here, which is fine. Fuel consumption is reduced by quite a lot, which is good for me. Maintenance consumption is also reduced by quite a lot. Ore mining yield is increased by 2 steps, 30%. So that means that increases or reduces the mined amount of ores and sand. If increased, excavators will mine more ore from the same size deposit compared to what they would mine for the standard setting. So this must stack kind of with this resource size to get even more. So maybe I don't need the bonus this one as well, but I'm gonna leave it anyway. I like stuff. I like resources. World mine deposits are unlimited in this mode. obviously Captain puts it at standard and Admiral puts it at reduced. I'm fine with that because, again, we're just trying to explore the game still here. Cleaning out the rat cage. Oh boy. Despite all your rage, you're still just a rat in the cage. Is that how that goes? Electricity production is bonus by 20%. That's fine. Settlement consumption is reduced by 20%. That's fine. Unity production is increased by 20%. I could probably get away with standard on that. I started using Unity more as the YouTube series proceeded, and I'm even more so in that easy game that I was discussing. But I don't use it probably as much as I should. Rainwater yield, definitely having a bonus to rainwater, even if one step is really nice here. And farm yield being a bonus, that's really nice. Base health is good. Less dry weather, that's good, because then we get more rain and then we get more everything. So growth and stuff. Plant growth. Construction cost 25% reduced. Quick repairs enabled. And the game seed, we could randomize this. I don't have a good seed. I don't really care about what seed I get because it only varies the world map anyways, from what I understand. Maybe a little bit of the island, the shape of the resources or something, but that's about it. So on that easy game, I'm going to keep all this on default sailor then, but on the easy game, I took all of these to the easiest step just to kind of explore. So I got 100% increased starting materials. That was the same. I did 50% increased ore mining yield. I left that on unlimited, etc. So I went all the way to whatever the easiest setting was, whichever direction easier was, is the way that I went for that easy game, and it was ridiculously easy. So I don't need all that. Sailor should be fine. Few extra resources, a bigger map, a little bit easier to work with. I think this will work. Any thoughts or feedback from anyone before I hit the launch button? The launch button. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump in then. Launch. The game shows you these tips here. They're good to read if you are still in your first playthrough, because I don't know how many of them there are. There's quite a few, and they do actually offer some good information if you haven't really watched the game or listened to somebody explain it. You might catch something here that, even if you have, you might catch something here that you did not know before. I don't know about that. It's actually kind of it's kind of a difficult game to get started on, I think, because it's not like any one game. It has a lot of influence from games like Factorio, and it also has a lot of influence from games like Anno. So unless you're used to playing those types of games, which I really wasn't for Anno. I played Anno like way back in the old days. But I haven't played Anno in 20 plus years, so I had to kind of get used to it. And I think that's where I struggled a little bit on the YouTube series, was trying to make sure that I was supplying enough to everybody for the town. So that's kind of where the game comes in together. Welcome, Captain. Captain, we should say sailor, because we're just a sailor, we're not a captain. Captain, we have just docked. Our ship and the local shipyard will both need major repairs. The abandoned communication station near the dock could be deconstructed and used to smelt iron in a blast furnace, so we can build more vehicles and construction parts. It is essential to build a research lab as soon as possible so we can figure out more blueprints for important things such as farms or a beacon. You can build multiple labs to speed up the research. A friendly village you can trade with is nearby. Check the world map. Trading can be a lifesaver if you run into a shortage of critical products. So you should research and build a trading dock as soon as possible. Okay, we're going to get a bunch more of those pop-ups. I'm going to ignore probably all of them, or at least give a quick summary of them, just because I've said them all before. Excuse me, I said them all before, at least in my YouTube series. And so I don't want to repeat the whole thing, but I think, you know, that intro one was worth it to say anyway. So here we are on the island. If I orient it back toward the same view roughly as we had in the map earlier, that's this view here. So you can see we have our town here, our settlements here rather. Here's our ship and our dock. Here's that radio or communication station that's abandoned. Hey, Sequel Llama, welcome. Well, that's true. That's true. That's why I'll give a summary, but I don't want to bore anybody either, so I'll just give a summary and not read them verbatim. How about that? We can eventually make our way over to this island, but we'll have to build some sort of a path. We'll have to landfill something in. We have iron here. Let's actually turn the layers on. Down here in the bottom left are your tools. You have a cut copy. You have a copy settings, which is like a eyedropper configuration of a particular factory building to copy it to others of the same type. Be careful when you use it. If you highlight buildings that aren't of the same type, it will clear those recipes, assuming they don't have the one you had selected. So be careful of that. Let's see. We have the demolish tool. We have a unity tool, which can be able to be used to speed through building, constructing and deconstructing, as well as boosting performance. We have a pause tool, which I will turn on and leave on by default, and I'll talk about why in a little while. Wait, no, that's not right. Sorry, this button here. We have a layers tool and we have a planning mode tool, which is what I'm going to turn on and leave on by default for now. Weird Al? Yes, we should. We definitely should. So if you click on the layers tool here, it'll show you... oh, you're talking about the movie. Yes, we should. I was totally spaced for a second there. Sorry. You can see all the different colors here and the different bars, and I didn't understand entirely what these meant the first time I played, but what these mean, and let's look at the coal here, which is the brown one. What these mean is each one of these lines, these bars, represents a different strata layer. Alrighty, that sounds good. Maybe we can meet somewhere kind of halfway or something. And you can see they represent the different strata layers digging down. And as far as I can tell, each colored bar is a single depth layer. Starting at the surface, at the spot where it's at, the surface is the top of the bar. So if you look from here, you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4 bars down is all going to be dirt. That's what the gray is. Dirt or rock. Maybe rock's included in dirt. I think it might be. Hydrate. Hey, Addicted, welcome. Thanks for the hydrate. And then you can see there are several layers underneath that of coal. So we're gonna have to dig down under the dirt here to get to the coal in this area here. All right, straw hat. And a dad joke. Let's see. Some more oldies but goodies. Can February March? No. But April, May. Which message in Discord? I've seen everything today so far. So maybe? Oh yeah, I did. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, earlier today. Yep, I did. I think I responded to it. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I have a thing where I have... I did a reaction to it. That's what I did. All right, so, but then you can see here where you can see the coal above the surface, or at the surface anyway. The brown goes all the way up to the top of the bar. So that tells you that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 layers of coal here in that spot. From the top of the pile here, which is a few layers above the surface, to wherever it ends. So we can actually dig down quite a bit and get quite a bit of coal out of that mine, which is really good. Yeah, I was happy to have all of you guys with us because it was worth it to have the larger group, and I think it was a good experience for everybody too. We have oil here, a small patch of oil. Oil's always in a small patch. There should be another one someplace, possibly over here. No, that's gold. And we have water over here too. There's another patch back here, a little patch of oil. The water is the big blue circles. Even though Ontario bailed on us, well, he had other things he was wanting to do and focus on, and that's fine. It's not... The good thing with the way that I have everything set up is it's not a requirement for everybody to play every game, other than me, I guess, technically, but it's not a requirement. So, you know, the people who are playing with us on one game may play with us on a different game later. That's true. I mean, you played through chapters 1 and 2 on that series, but you didn't play in chapter 3. Yep. This is limestone here. It's kind of almost the same color as sand, which is next to it. It's just a little bit whiter, grayer, where sand has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. I would like for them to distinguish those colors a little bit more. For me, that's a little bit tough to tell, especially when you have one piled on top of the other like that. It's a little bit hard to tell, but it's fine. And then we have over here copper, as well as over here more copper. We'll get to that copper first, because getting up here is harder than getting over to that one. And there's lots of sand on this island, so that's good. This is all coal back here too, so once we run out of coal in this patch, run out, we will eventually, probably. I know Bold Viking did, so we probably will too. We'll have to start digging at this one, which will come later, much later. Water there, here, and over there on the other island too. All right, so let's turn that layer screen off, but we'll refer back to that as the game progresses a bit. So zooming in here on what we have to work with, we have a handful of trucks. What is that? 8 trucks, and we have a tree harvester. We have our dock and our boat, neither of which we can use just yet. We have that abandoned communication station that we're going to need to recycle, so I'll go ahead and flag it for recycling. It contains just over 2,000 iron scrap, 1,350 concrete slabs, and 300 electronics. And then we have 2 settlement plots here, each of which can hold 70 people. So that gives us to a total of 140. We have 90 population currently. And here we have a food market that has some potatoes in it. Once those are gone, our people start starving. So we need to kind of get into well, there might be more here. No, there aren't actually. So we kind of need to get on it. There's a bunch of stuff here that we pulled off of the boat. 900 copper, 750 diesel, 360 rubber, 600 cement, 750 construction parts, 240 mechanical parts, 180 vehicle parts, and 300 coal. And we'll pull that stuff off there as we need it to build things. So the game really doesn't tell you here what to do first. It tells you to start recycling. I just punched my mic stand. It tells you to start recycling the abandoned communication station, but it doesn't really tell you what to do with it. So what you need to do with it is start to smelt it. And you can look for the smelting stuff here under the smelting, metallurgy and smelting icon. Down here are all of your construction menus. As we add some more, there's probably about half again more icons that'll appear down here over time. They will start shifting outward in both directions, obviously, and then they're going to sneak behind my shoulder here. But they're going to be ones we aren't going to use that often, so it'll be fine. The map is the first one here, or the last one here rather, and that one's going to be gone first. Statistics will disappear, and message center will probably disappear as well. There's a couple more that will appear here, and maybe I'll just shift over to show them the first time if we can't see them. So metallurgy and smelting is the first menu we're definitely going to spend some time in, because we need to make some coal. We have coal here, of course, but we're going to have to start making some pretty quickly. So we're going to want to set up a coal maker to turn wood into coal and also exhaust. We're going to want to smelt in a blast furnace that iron scrap plus coal to make molten iron and exhaust. And then we're going to send that molten iron down the line to the metal caster. And the metal caster turns the molten iron into iron plates, basically. Each of these has a cost also here in construction parts and later other materials. But for now, we have construction parts. There are additional screens here. The smokestack is how we get rid of exhaust. Transports, right now all we have is molten channels and pipes. Later on we'll get 2 different kinds of belts, and then we'll get 2, 3, I think 4 different additional levels, 2 to 4 additional levels of everything but the molten channel, I think. Pipes and belts, that is. Buildings, we have a research lab. We're going to need to build one of those pretty quickly so we can start doing research. Housing and services, we already have 2 housing plots. When we need to add more, we'll add more. Food market, we have 1. We'll need to add more later. And waste collection, we'll need to put one of those in fairly soon. Let's see here. We're gonna dump our trash in the ocean because, well, I don't have anything else I want to do with it. So we're gonna dump it in the ocean. We can mark places for dumping, which we will do later. We can mark trees for harvesting, which we will do soon. Yeah, you were in season 2. Yep. and then you didn't do the final chapter. So that's kind of the menus, or the buttons here as we have them, the construction menus. Over here on the right side, we have a listing of all the resources that we have flagged for or pinned onto the side. We can pin some of the additional ones here if we wanted to keep track of them. If any of these we didn't want to keep track of, we could unpin them. I'm going to leave it at the default for now, but we can always change those up later. And this is products, and then you can also look at graphs of food, maintenance, health, pollution, population, unity, population growth, and fuel over time. Once we start playing the game, of course. And then here on the lower right, there's a mixer icon, and this will show you every recipe for every item you can make in the game as they've been revealed to you. So as we go through the research, we'll get more and more items here, and it eventually becomes scrollable if there's so many different types of items. But this will tell you how to make everything in the game. So the recipes we saw when we were hovering over, say, you know, the metal caster to show the iron. If we wanted to go see how do we make iron, we can see that we can make that in a metal caster from molten iron to iron, and then there's also a metal caster 2 that we can unlock later, and it'll show us that recipe too because we already know about iron. It also shows us what we can spend iron on and whether it's locked or not here in the in the screen as well. So you can see production and consumption of every item that you know about in the game. Okay, so enough yammering. Let's go ahead and get started. We need to start turning this iron scrap into iron plates because we don't have very many iron plates. Actually, we don't have any iron plates. So let's go ahead and start with that process here. We need a blast furnace to do that. That's going to turn the scrap into molten iron, and then we'll use the metal caster to turn that into plates. I'm going to use it oriented with this, I think, or kind of against this, because this is where we're going to get most of our iron from. Over here, this is going to be gone in not very long. So let's turn this maybe like this direction here. And you can see here on this building that we have several inputs and outputs. The recipe we have selected automatically says, hey, these inputs and outputs can be used with these items. So here in the middle on the output side, sorry, the input side, here we have two inputs. Both of these inputs can be used later when we have belts to automatically input coal and iron scrap in this case. Either one will work in either slot. You just can't mix them in the same slot because otherwise it gets confused that way. On the output side, we have two molten channel slots for molten iron. We will use those right away to make molten iron and to pass that on to the casting thingy with a metal caster. We also have here an output for exhaust. We'll have to put a exhaust smokestack here. We can actually do that now if we want. You can attach these directly to it as long as you get the little green plug connected icon. If you don't get the green plug connected icon, like say like this, then you have it rotated wrong. Or certain things can't be directly connected, and when we get to those, I will show those off. So that goes there. And notice these are all placing down as paused. And that's not because the game is paused, even though it is. They're paused anyway, and that's because I'm in planning mode. But I like to be in planning mode because I like to plan what I'm building. It also tells me that here. Now, this is new to this recent update. I'd like to be able to plan out what I'm doing before I actually get started on it. So this is going to take 24 iron scrap every 60 seconds. You can toggle it to a recipe level, so 8 iron scrap plus 3 coal makes 8 molten iron plus 6 exhaust, or you can look at it on a per 60 second basis to kind of calculate throughputs and things like that. And I just use the 60 second one because, well, I like throughput. I like doing the balancing of everything. So 24 iron scrap per minute plus 9 coal per minute means it will produce 24 molten scrap, or molten iron, sorry, and 18 exhaust. The exhaust smokestack can handle up to 60 exhaust every 60 seconds. So technically we could thread multiple of these outputs, up to 3 point whatever of them, into one smokestack, but it's easier just to connect a smokestack directly to the machine. And then we have a metal caster, and the metal caster has an input here, you can see, for the iron input, and it has an output there for the iron plates. You can do these a couple of different ways, and I've done them different ways in the past. I think I'm going to do them this way, perhaps, but then I might flip this whole thing around. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to put this next one here. And then I want to do this, and I want to just rotate the whole thing like that. And I just use Control-C or Control-X to cut. And then, actually, I think you could just use X, but it works fine with the Control too. And then I'm going to put these down here somewhere, but I want to also put them, actually what we should do, put it down. Put it down. If you do cut, be careful you put it back down again. Do not clear your cursor or you will lose the blueprint. I want to look at the layers again. I want to make sure that I'm far enough away from the iron here, the iron deposit, that I'm not going to have to move this as we dig down into the iron. And I think this will be safe where we're at here. So we have this, and now we just need to do a transport for the molten. You can use one or both of these outputs. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and use just one, and I'm going to connect these together. Now, when you connect these together like this, a little box shows up here. Oops, a little box shows up here, and I can't really click on it because it'll want me to do it in the molten channel. That's kind of like a connector, and it works like a merger or a splitter, and it just connects two different or multiple different belt segments together whenever you have a connection, an intersection like this. Because we have an intersection because this is going into this machine's input, and then it's continuing along to that one. Later on, we could potentially replace this with a balancer. There's a reason to do that, but I don't know that it's really a good one, so I'm probably not going to bother. But this is kind of a nice, narrow, compact build here that we can kind of get started with. So let's unpause the game, and then let's grab the pause tool. Shortcut key is P, but we'll grab the pause tool, and we'll just unpause that. And then the trucks will come. Trucks will come. There they come. We probably need to kick the speed up a little bit too. The trucks will come, they will gather up a bunch of these construction parts and wing them over here and connect them up to this stuff. And then once that's going, this is going to have a demand for iron scrap and coal, both of which we have here, coal and iron scrap, and they're going to start chewing on that and making it a thing. We've just got a tutorial for iron smelting. Everything I've told you is in this tutorial, so I'm not going to read it. We're fine. What is on my head? Hey, Alchem Scar, welcome. It is a straw hat. It's a little tough sometimes to see with the digital green screen, but it is a straw hat. Because I am an old man, and I wear an old man straw hat. So the other thing we need to do is, because we have a limited amount of coal here, and it's almost all gone already. No, we start with 300, so it's almost all gone. But we need to start making some more coal. So we're going to put a coal maker down here, and I think I'm going to put it here near the trees somewhere. And that's because it turns 30 wood into 6 coal, so I want to have the shorter trip on the near side. And we're going to unpause that so it starts to build that. That'll be fine. And then we need to mark some trees for harvesting, and we can do, say, this clump for now. And that will send off this harvester to start harvesting the trees. Now, we have to assign one or more trucks to the harvester, or it will not be able to get rid of the trees that it harvests. So let's assign one truck to the harvester for now. One of our 8. And you can see this truck just loaded up some iron scrap that it pulled out of this abandoned communication station. We had 2,100 or so, whatever it was, and now we have 1,960. It's pulling it out, and you can see the little red bar saying, hey, there's some stuff that's been taken out. And it'll just keep going down as it keeps removing stuff. They delivered the iron scrap here, and they delivered the coal here, and you can see now there are little beads of hot metal coming along the belt here. Or the pipe, the channel here, and going into each of these things, and it should be splitting it relatively evenly. It may not be perfect, but I don't really care that much. That's probably why it's little beads like this, because it is splitting it evenly. It should try to split it evenly if it can. If it can't, it'll push it along to one or the other. Coal maker needs... Oh, I need to put exhaust on the coal maker. Oops, let's do that now. Exhaust on the coal maker, and that's here on the front side. We just want to make sure we get that green plug icon. Unpause that, and some truck will come over here and deliver the construction parts for it. And so now that we're able to make coal here from the logs, from the trees, we can take we no longer have to worry about relying on the coal we had brought with us. By the way, let me do a few Shoutouts for everybody in chat. Shoot. Exactly. Thank you, Buttspot. And there's Jeff. And Addicted and Argenscar. Buttspot's at it again. All right. So we're smelting iron, and we are turning trees into coal. That's kind of the first two steps. But remember, we have a few things otherwise going on. We have food being eaten. We're eating 4 potatoes every 60 seconds. By the way, 60 seconds of game time is 1 month of game time. So kind of keep that number in mind. There are 214 potatoes in this storage. There were some here, I think. No, there weren't. So we have to get through, we have to be able to make food on our own before this gets through those 52 months worth of supply, which isn't hard, except that our population is going to grow. So we have a few things we need to do. We also have these guys probably storing up some waste here. So we're going to need to deal with that pretty soon too. But I think we can start, before that, we can start with something else. What was that? Oh, the research lab. We can put down a research lab. So let's maybe put that in around here somewhere, maybe. And whoever's available, the trucks will come in and get the stuff and zip around and build that real quick. And the research lab allows us to unlock more technologies, which will be useful very, very soon. Research lab is ready. Okay, that tutorial is going to tell us how the research lab works. We need to research and build farms before our food supply runs out. That makes logical sense. We need to get a beacon going, and that'll bring refugees to the island, which will increase our population, which also works towards our worker count up here, which I didn't actually go into the stuff across the top. Oops. And then we need to keep a eye on the supply of different things, and then we need to make them. And then finally, we need to keep an eye on Unity as well. And actually, let's pause the game for a moment again and talk about the stuff across the top. So we talked about population. We have 90 out of our 140 capacity. This is our people's health. You can see that it is slowly increasing. They have a base health value. They do get some sickness from different things like pollution, different types of pollution. And then that goes into affecting the Unity score. And Unity is kind of like a generic resource that you constantly gain, or sometimes you don't gain. But it gives you the ability to enhance the performance of certain things in your factory temporarily or permanently. And right now, our Unity is being affected by both our food and our health. And so we have our total Unity here. As we get different types of food, that'll help with the food score here, and that'll also help with different other things with the population too, which we'll get into when we get those. The research lab does cost Unity to run, so if you aren't doing any active research, you may want to pause your research lab, which will pause the Unity consumption. Just a thought. So let's go into the research screen. You can see that, or let's just continue across here. That's Unity here. Yes, indeed. The bot has spoken. The Unity here, a big display of how many Unity you have, and then how much you're gaining. We do have a Unity cap here of 36. That goes up over time as well with more people, I think, or more housing, or more whatever. Our truck status. There's a few things I actually want to change here. Right now we're going to allow partially loaded trucks just for safety reasons, but I'm going to disallow the dumping of anything. And I'll show why more in a little while, why I do that. But for now, we're going to disallow dumping of anything on the island. This tells us how many total vehicles we own of each type, how many we can assign out, and how many are assigned to tree harvesting. Across the top here shows us how much food we have in store. We have 50 months worth of food. The time passes by pretty quickly. We're already in September, so that works out pretty well. The amount of workers we have available. Now this is the population minus the assigned workers, so we have 60 workers available. As time goes by, we build more stuff. We'll obviously need to have more workers coming in, which is why we need to have that beacon, and we can get more population and stuff then. The research screen we'll get to in a moment. This here shows the status of our ship. It is currently docked. We can't do anything with it now anyway, so that's fine. And then finally, this is your vehicle count and current vehicle count and vehicle capacity. So we can have up to 50 vehicles right now. I don't recommend it at this point in the game, but you can have up to 50 vehicles right now, and we currently have 9. And we can, this increases over time too with research. The current weather conditions, the date, and then the speed controls and notifications and things like that. So let's go to the research screen. And the research screen is quite extensive. You can see the extensiveness of it here. But for the most part, you kind of just want to work left to right. So we start the game by already knowing iron smelting from scrap, pipes, and settlement waste management. We need to learn basic farming, construction pretty quickly. We also need to learn vehicles and mining pretty quickly. Trading docks, not a bad deal to get soon either, and power maintenance as well. I think we're going to do construction first, and then basic farming, and then vehicles and mining. I'm double clicking on them to add them into the research queue. You can see here that it's in the queue and it's positioned in the queue. You can also see that here on the little icons, or on the, it has a little icon on the thing itself. You can remove them from a queue either by right clicking or by clicking the remove button over here. And then we'll probably do, we'll just do these like this, I guess. And then once we unlock power and maintenance, then we can move on into more of the tree. So you can see that at certain points, the one technology will lock the rest of the tree up. The next time we see one of those is here in construction 2, and then later research lab 2 kind of comes into play, and then later construction 3, etc. So we can see there's different, at some point, at various points, there's a single technology that unlocks everything further. So you kind of do have to work left to right, but it's not required or anything like that. So let's leave those alone. Let's unpause the game again. We're on speed 2. That should be fine. We have a research lab. We're collecting trees and turning them into coal. We have our iron going. We can eventually put down pipes. I'm going to clear the little dot there. The next thing we need to do probably is waste collection. I'm going to put that up here on the side of the factory, or the side of the community, I think. It may end up moving it later, but I think we're going to put it here for now. And then we want to unpause that, of course, and let them build it. The planning mode can get irritating sometimes, but on other times it works out really well, so I just keep it on all the time. But your mileage may vary. We have a tutorial for tools. That's this whole tool thing down here. We kind of talked about all of those already, so I'm going to leave that alone. Very basic, functionality tools, though, of course. All right, let's get you built. And so what happens is, let me pause for a moment again. There's 32 and 32 waste built up here in these colonies. When these get to 100, the people start getting sick. So this will store up 200 waste, and then when that gets full, then it starts backing up here again. And when those get to 100 again, those people get sick. So that, well, it was 32 total. I'm sorry, it's 32 total for the whole colony, not it's waste in settlement, not waste in this block. So we have 32, now 34 here, and it's going to continue going up. We're going to have to start dumping it pretty soon, but I don't want to dump it just yet because I want to unlock vehicles and mining first. So let's go up to speed 3, and we'll kind of just let them keep making iron as they can. The iron will store up here in the machine 12 plates per metal caster, and they will also store 64 plates per metal caster. They'll also store 8 molten iron each. There's molten iron stored along the channel here, and it doesn't cool. Game logic. And then there is molten iron stored in the blast furnace, as well as the coal and iron scrap that it needs to run more recipes. The first construction here is moving, or first research here is moving along, but there's not a whole lot else to do at this exact stage of the game, which is kind of, there's a couple of points here in the early game where you're just like, okay, what do I do now? And really what you do now is just wait. There's not a whole lot else you can do. Finished construction. Now we have stuff we can do. So you can click on the thing over here, and it'll let you go jump into the research screen to start new, or you can just dismiss it. We're just going to dismiss it. And then here we get a new menu called General Machines, and we have an assembly, a manual assembly machine. This takes 4 workers, and they can turn iron, wood, and construction blocks into construction parts. They can turn iron into mechanical parts, concrete slabs, sorry, and rubber and copper into electronics, all in this one machine. You can do it all in one, or you can do it in multiple. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to put these maybe over here someplace to start with. I don't know when I'll move them, if I do later, but we're just going to put one up, and we'll let it do all 3 recipes, and this order is fine, and we can change this up later as the game progresses and we build more of them. We can add, remove recipes from here. We'll also get a bunch more recipes in this machine, etc. Tutorial for waste and dumping. We kind of just talked about that, although we do still need to dump the waste. I disabled all of these on purpose, and I'll talk about that as soon as we get the mining stuff going. As long as this doesn't fill up. If it does, then we may have to change plans slightly. And then the assembly is ready, and we know how to do this. We just make recipes, basically. The trucks will automatically gather the stuff. They'll come here and get the iron plates. They'll go out here and get wood from the truck here, I think, will actually deliver the wood in here. And we'll change that in a little while, so that this truck that's working with the harvester won't have to drive all the way in here, but for now it's driving all the way in. And then they'll pull concrete slabs out of here. And actually, we don't need to make electronics yet. I'm not going to have them make them yet, just for that reason. And then we can also delete the items that are stored in the machine, and that'll send them back out of here. And I think they'll dump them back in the shipyard, because that's the only place to go. And that's just in case you don't want a bunch of stuff stockpiled in the thing. So we just unlocked basic farming. And that unlocks the farm building, of course. And in the meantime, we're continuing with vehicles and mining. The tree harvester, up here, by the way, there are alerts. The tree harvester has no trees to harvest. We need to resolve that by going to the tree harvesting designation again and marking some more trees. Actually, let's just mark a huge cluster of trees here, like this. That'll be good. Just draw a box around them. Farming is the next thing we just unlocked. So we got a new menu here again for farming. Food production, rather, generically. And that gives us one building called a farm. Let's all be surprised. The farms have to be placed on grassland, on green-ish place. I mean, the place under the forest is fine. It cannot be placed on sand. It cannot be placed on rock. It cannot be placed on anything other than dirt, which will turn green over time. And you can see here there's a building here in the corner, and that building has 2 outputs on it. One for each type of belt. There are 2 types of belts, by the way, which we will unlock in a little while. Right now, we only have output available of one of those because we only can farm one item, potatoes. What I like to do with these is put them here kind of nearish to where I'm working at, because, well, they need to be near. I can rotate them. You can also hit F to flip them. You can see these controls right here on the screen behind my head. R for rotate, F to flip, Shift to continue placing, E for elevation, Q for down elevation, and Y is to toggle the price display, which I don't even know. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to try and push it back a little bit from the edge of this, but I think we're going to go like... Now I got to watch over that tree right there, because they can't build it where the tree is. I think I'm going to go like right in here. I'm going to make that truck mad. I'm going to go right here. And my plan will be to do another farm. And I just hit C to clone. While I was pointing at that, put another farm right here, kind of mirrored against it, like that. And that way their outputs are near each other. And then I can also put another one down here later. And then I don't have enough room to put one here right now, but by the time I get to needing 4, maybe I'll have some other things done that I can fill this in with some dirt and then I could put a fourth one in if I wanted to. So that's paused because I have the planning mode on. Let's unpause it. And this is the generic farm interface. Now, this is going to get some enhancements later on with some of the upgrades we can do. We can eventually add water to it. Right now, it's getting water from the rain only, and then we can also adjust the fertilizers and stuff in it. And we can also do a crop rotation. So there's a lot of choices we'll have to do later. But for right now, we're going to get about 60 potatoes in about 2 months. Target is 70 every 3 months, but that'll come down over time. And then that gives us an average of 11.1 every 60 game seconds, which is every month. Which is, why is that going to be so low compared to that 7? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, so we're growing potatoes now. Yay, we're not going to die. So we are, but if you're growing 11.1 potatoes every 60 seconds, this is the key piece of information here. If we come over here to the colony, we can click on the food tab, which is the same as just clicking on the food market. We can come over here, let's slow the game down just a little bit, and we can see that they're only eating 4.1 potatoes every 60 seconds. So already we're going to be making almost 3 times as many potatoes as they can actually eat. So that's good. That's really good. And actually, before they start filling this up too much, I want to stop them from importing to here. Sorry. And I want to flip this, put this here instead. And move that truck out of the way, please. And I want to have a separate food. I want to have a food market over here on the side instead of this one, to hopefully, Ron, bring us some stuff. Bring us some stuff. Here we come. To hopefully get them, because I want to be able to expand this colony, and I think I want to expand it kind of this way, and this is going to be in the way. So let's do that. This will be potatoes, of course, and I want to actually delete the potatoes out of this one. Oh, that actually deleted them, didn't it? Oh, crap. Oh, crap. That's not what I wanted to do. I thought that would put them in here. Oh, it did. Okay. Import, please. Strike import on. Actually, it can be on auto, but it can be on. And they're going to bring the potatoes here. Sorry. And then we need to delete this one. So it's out of my way. Does that button say? Doesn't say, but it did send them over here because we had 100 and whatever over here, so we're good. Whew. Okay, so we got a tutorial here for mining and dumping. I'm just going to do this as part of the discussion of the game, so I'm not going to actually read through this, but it goes through how you set up mining control towers, how you do dumping and mining zones, and how you can look at the different resources in the layer, which we already looked at, and how things work. So right now, the only product we have that we need to dump right now is waste, and we're about half full on the waste in the waste collection building, and then of course it'll back up in here too. And what I want to do is I want to actually dump this waste in the ocean. I'll let that sink in for a minute. Get it? Because what I want to do that for a couple of reasons. The first reason is, if you start a waste pile, like I did in my YouTube series, somewhere on the island, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually, you have to do something with it. You know, when I was watching Bold Viking stream this, he kept growing the waste pile and kept growing the waste pile. And then when he finally finished mining out his first coal mine, got almost all the coal out of it, he then turned it into a dump, and he dumped all the waste in there. He had his trucks, his vehicles, pick up all that trash from that trash mountain and haul it all into the old coal mine and filled it in. That's a lot of rework, and I tried to do something like that on my YouTube series as well, and then it was dumping it into the ocean anyways. So we're just gonna dump it into the ocean right away, and oh well. It does not cause pollution to dump solid waste in the ocean, which is kind of amusing, but that's the way the game works. So we're going to exploit the game in that manner because it's how the game works, so why not, right? Just a moment, I'm filibustering a little bit while I do something quickly. Okay. So we need to set up a dumping site, and we could say, hey, you know, you can dump, trucks can dump anything on a dumping site, or any specific thing on a dumping site. And dumping sites are done here with dumping designation, and you can see here that it's kind of like a little cursor tool, and by default it's ramping up. We can press F, as you can see on the shortcut keys behind my head here, to go flat versus slope. You can see how that changes there. And then you can do E and Q to change the height of the position of whether it's flat or slope. And then you can use R to rotate, so you can point it in another direction. And then right click cancels the thing, but it also will help you deselect the dumping designation. So let's say I wanted to create a mountain of something right here like this. I could do that. Some of them are green, some of them are yellow. The green ones are the places where the trucks can actually get to dump. The yellow with the red borders mean that the trucks can't dump here yet. They have to actually be able to ramp up to get there. So, like for example, if I did this and I just raised it up by 1, the trucks can't dump there. No matter what, they cannot dump it there. So we have to have this starter spot in order to get them to dump, and then we can right-click, drag a box to remove any dumping zone markings. The mining zone works the same exact way with a mining designation here, except that it slopes downward instead of upward, because you mine down and you dump up. So generally speaking, at least. So mining zones will dig downward, and again, the same rules apply. The solid yellow ones here are a workable mining zone. The orange with the red borders are a non-workable mining zone until they get to the point where they can they mined out these so that they can dig down. Now there's another small difference between mining and dumping. Mining must be managed by a mining tower area, whereas dumping does not need a mining tower area if you have this turned on. If you have this turned on, you say, okay, you can dump all the dirt you want in this pot, in the world here. This controls the world. You can dump. Hey, Marshall, welcome. Yeah, I'm streaming. If you turn this on to dump, this means that you can dump that product anywhere in the world where you have a dumping designation that is not controlled by a mining zone. Mining, whatever that thing said, the mining designation. No, the mining control tower zone. And now we're going to get into those. I'm going to take this out again because I don't like to allow the trucks to. I would rather control everything via the towers, even just a plain dumping zone. So we have this new menu here called Buildings for Vehicles that came with a vehicle depot, which is just a building to make trucks in. I'm just going to throw that over here someplace, kind of by our settlement and by our whatever dark side here, maybe right there. And I'm going to let them go ahead and build that when we unpause the game. But that's just going to allow us to make more vehicles. For now, we're not going to make any. We'll probably make some trucks pretty quickly. We'll make an excavator or two pretty soon too. But for now, we're just going to build that building when they can, so that we can deal with it. The other building we have here is a mine control tower. And a mine control tower is a way to designate an area for mining and or dumping, where you want to control exactly what happens in that area. So what I want to do to dump the trash into the ocean, which is what our first objective is here, is I want to place a mining control tower down. And it doesn't have to necessarily be near the dumping or mining site, but know that the trucks will return, any assigned trucks to this tower will return to the tower when they are unable to do any more work for whatever reason. And we'll see that a little bit later with the mining more, because we won't actually assign any trucks to a solo dumping site. So I just want to put this down. I'm going to put it here in the corner because I'm weird like that. And I'm going to unpause it so that they can build it. And you can see that it starts out with a default box here of 128 by 128 meters. And we can edit the area and change that default box. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to tell them they can control this area here. Oops, I messed up though. Here. Here. I'm going to sell and they can control this area here. So it's got a different size and dimension here. Ah, thank you, Jeff. Lots of everybody who's here tonight is a streamer. So since this is going to be a designated dumping zone only, we're not going to assign any trucks to it. We'll get to that in a little bit when we do a mining zone. We can allow things to be dumped here. It says nothing. The reason it says nothing is because this says nothing. These will default to whatever this is. So keep that in mind. We want to be able to dump waste here. Only waste for now. We'll add some more things in here, I think, later. Slag and rock, probably. But for now, we're not going to. No, I'm going to put them in there, too. Slag and rock. If we need to dump those, we'll dump them. But not dirt. And this notify if cannot dispose is more useful when a zone is... when a control tower is for mining. It's not useful when it's... assigned for dumping only, because there aren't any trucks assigned here, therefore it doesn't have to dispose of anything of its own, I guess. This is if stuff is collected out of this mine's control zone, then if it can't dispose of either of these, then it will give you a notification up here in the top right. So we're going to be building this too. But this won't actually do anything on its own. It's just got a designation to say, hey, we can dump waste, slag, and rock here. We need to set up a dumping zone here, and I want to do that off the coastline. Let's flatten this out. You can see here that the sand is at layer 3. Let me turn it around this way. The sand is at layer 3. Well, I don't want the waste to be this high. I want the waste to be one height lower. So I'm going to do a minus or a Q to drop the level down, and then I want to take this out probably we'll go here for right now. We're going to come out to level 2, and I just want to put in a huge kind of area within this rectangle where these trucks can take all the waste, slag, and rocks and dump them all. Now you can see here that we have a dumping zone underneath the island. The game doesn't care. The game will ignore those because they're already been satisfied. We're saying that we want trucks to dump up to level 2. Well, this stuff here is at level 10. Junket. Yes. So they're like, oh, that's fine. We don't care. Same thing with here, but they're going to fill in a little bit here on this edge of the cliff, and then they're going to fill in a lot here in the water. And you can see how deep the ocean gets eventually, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper eventually. I don't know how far it'll go, but what we're going to want to do here is level this off so that we have a nice straight line along this coastline here. And then it'll come out this way too. And then what we'll eventually do probably is take down maybe some of these rocks, and we could have even more coastline here, or we could put a pass through the mountains or something like that to get stuff out here, because eventually we'll need to ship things in from other places in the world, which we'll get to a little bit later on, as in not tonight. But that's how you get mining and dumping really going. So I unpaused the game, and we're gonna let them work on that. We finished vehicles and mining, of course, so we can now mine resources. And so what we're going to want to do with that is grab another one of these mine control towers. And we're going to want to mine some iron, for example. Or actually, let's start with the coal. Yeah, let's go over here to the coal. Start with the coal. I want to look at the layers. The coal comes all the way out to here. So I want to keep that in mind. And I want to back myself off quite a bit from there to put down this mine control tower. And the only reason I want to do that is because eventually I'm going to want to dig down all these layers here into the ground. And in order to do that, I'm going to have the lip of my mine way out here in order to get this coal right here. It's got to be out here somewhere. Maybe not this far out, but you get the idea. So I'm going to put this way out here. And then I'm going to adjust this zone as well here. Actually, it's unpause it, so they'll start building it. And we'll adjust this here to be like this. And we can adjust these later. You can adjust these all you want. I do not want them to dump anything here. So I want them to tell me if they can't get rid of dirt or rock, because that's important. And then I want to set a mining designation here of flat at layer 5, which is the ground in this level. Remember, the sand over here is layer 3. But then we come up a couple of layers here, up this. You can see how here the sand is sloped up to this level here. So come up here to level 3 and or level 5 rather, and I want to just rip up all of this coal here eventually. So we've marked that for mining, but I want to just skin the coal off the surface. That's fine. We'll dig down later. Turn off the layer though. Thank you. But we need to have an excavator to do that. So let's make an excavator here. That takes vehicle parts, iron and diesel. We have all those stashed here, except for the iron, which is stashed over here. And then I want to make a couple more pickups while we're at it. And that'll take a little bit of time to make all of those things. You can see these guys are still working on these items, and that's good. We unlocked the trading dock. We unlocked something else before that, didn't we? Just the vehicles and mining? Okay, good. I'm going to not clear these. Try not to clear these until after I use the thing that it says. So trading dock we need to put down, and that helps us with the world map. We also got another icon here called cargo docks. That's where the trading dock is located. It costs 135 wood. Let's put that over here someplace. Rotate. And we need to watch out for these little green zones here. They cannot overlap. If they overlap, these will start complaining, I believe. So let's just not overlap them at all. But let's make it kind of like right next to. You're complaining about something there, though. Maybe you are complaining. I think you're okay. Let's go like right there. No, I need to put it in the ocean. Okay, then let's push out a little bit more. Right there. And let's unpause that. We'll build that, and then we can go over what it does. Putting it on the coastline is the most important part. And this is kind of where I wish the coastline was straight, because I'm kind of retentive about that. But that's fine. We'll have a straight coastline over here. So that'll get built. It'll take them a little bit, and then we also want to build. The other thing we unlocked in the trading dock, which is the unit storage. That's here in storage, unit storage. This is for storing not solid items in the most traditional sense, but the word would be solid items. No, let's not do it there. Let's do it over here. Solid items that do not flow. I don't know what the correct word is. So iron plates. Oh, actually, we can use this as an example here. Copper plates flow, are solid and they do not flow. Diesel is liquid. Rubber is solid and does not flow. Cement is solid and does not flow because it's in bags. Construction parts, likewise. Mechanical parts, likewise. Vehicle parts, likewise. Coal, on the other hand, flows. Same thing with iron ore, copper ore, limestone. Potatoes flow. It sounds a little weird, but they flow. So they're like a chunky item, and they need to have a different type of conveyor belt, which means they need a different type of storage. That's kind of the most confusing part of the game, the early game here, is what goes in what storage. And I mean, you can build one and click the button and see, and see that menu that I just showed. But in the end, it's more about like, okay, well, what goes in what item, and eventually you just kind of have to figure it out and remember it. So what they're doing now is they're taking all the iron that was stashed in these, and they're dumping it in this box up to 180. And the cool thing about that is that instead of having, I think it was 64 in each of these, so 128 total, now we can have 64 plus 180, or sorry, 128 plus 180, so we can get up to 302 stored iron plates now. And you can add more of these boxes, it's fine. Potatoes, if you cook them in a stew, yeah, but these are raw potatoes. But they would like tumble down off of a belt. If you try to put them on a flat conveyor belt, they would tumble off. So think about that as the difference in the conveyor belts. If you put it on a flat belt, would it tumble off? then it has to go in on a U-shaped belt, and it has to go in a different type of storage than this type. If it can sit on a flat belt and not fall off, then it goes in this type of storage. It's kind of a weird logic, but I understand why they did it that way. It just adds a bit of complexity. So we can clear this now. We did it, sort of. I mean, they're still building the trading dock, but it's going to take them a little while because it's all wood. And now that I built a couple of extra trucks, I can probably assign an extra truck to this guy. Another truck for you. And now it's got 2 trucks to work with, which will help it out a lot. We also have our excavator. So our excavator we want to take over to here and assign it, and also assign a truck to it, to this station, that is. And actually, I want to edit this mining designation slightly. I want to make sure that we are indeed flat over here on this side, so there's nothing to clear up on that side. And we are indeed. It's already the same level, so it kind of fades into this duller yellow, which means that, hey, you've already met this goal of this height. Just like over here, this becomes a duller green with the dumping designation rather than the brighter green of, hey, we can dump crap here. And that crap, by the way, is waste. You can see it here, all being dumped along the coastline. Delicious. All right. And that came out of this building, by the way, and there should be very little waste in here. Whenever there hits 20, another truck will come up and haul it off. You're still building this thing? Yeah, it takes them a little while. That's why I set it up, and we'll come back to it. We just finished power and maintenance. I was hoping to finish the other thing first. So we get a warning up here. Mine control tower, no available place to dump products. And they're complaining about dirt. We need to find a place to dump dirt. And I think I'm going to dump the dirt over here. So I want to do another mine control tower, because I don't want them to dump the dirt in the ocean right now, because I want to use it on the surface to make it pretty. After we dump all the trash in the ocean, I want to cover it up with dirt. So let's put another mine control tower in maybe like here. Unpause, please. And I want to allow dirt to be dumped here. Dirt, and only dirt. And then I want to have a dumping designation. I want to have it sloped, rotated, and I want you to put a nice dirt hill in right here to start with. And then we'll go from there later. So this truck is coming over here now. I think it's going to wait until after the thing gets built, I hope. I guess not. I guess it's fine. It's happy with it because it's here, which is interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but that's fine. So now they're going to dump dirt here in a roughly that shaped mountain, but dirt rolls downhill, as does everything else. So they'll dump it, but eventually it's going to kind of fan out around and make like a bulging out in order to make slopes that the dirt can roll down, kind of thing. And we'll see that as they progress through the dumping. All right, so we unlocked power and maintenance. If I go into the menu here, power and maintenance gives us... Oh, we also finished our research we have marked. Power and maintenance gives us the maintenance depot, a diesel generator, and it's not dirt. What is it? Poop. Maintenance here gives us... it's kind of a resource that we have to make. So we're going to have a maintenance depot we need to build that takes mechanical parts and electronics and produces maintenance 1. And then we can have a diesel generator that burns diesel to make electricity, which we will need electricity very soon, possibly even for the maintenance depot, which is here in the buildings menu. Do you need power? You do need power. Okay, so yes, we need to... Nothing else rolls downhill faster? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to put this in here next to the vehicle building because for reasons. And let's unpause it. And before that can turn on, that's going to need 25 kilowatts of power. So we need to have a diesel generator. And for now, we're just going to build a diesel generator and we'll deal with it later. That's here under power production. There's diesel stored in here, so I'm just going to build it up here by all this other stuff, and then we'll, like I said, we'll deal with it later. Where's the exhaust at on this thing? Why you no show me exhaust? Wait, doesn't it need an exhaust connection? Smokestack? I guess not. And it's just have its own. Okay. In that case, you're going to bump up right against that. Oh, cut, not copy. Bump up right against that. And that takes in diesel. It can be piped in if you want. For now, we're just going to have the trucks bring it in because we have it all stashed in here. And there is a pipe connection here, but it's an input. This is for refilling the ship later. These tanks here are storage for the ship for later, which we will see those a little bit better later on. This is now built and complaining because it doesn't have any electricity, and we have new bars up here, a new bar up here, for electricity. Current demand, current production, and then total production capacity. So we currently have a demand of 25 kilowatts. We're producing 25 kilowatts, and we can produce 216 with this one generator. So the generators do run at a metered capacity, so they won't burn full out if they are needed, which is kind of good. So factorial style versus satisfactory style, basically. Okay, so that's power, and that's maintenance, and this is producing maintenance. Now, maintenance is a magic resource. It doesn't go anywhere physically. Like, there's no output belt there on the maintenance building. These are both input belts here, input ports rather, because there's two items here, so they have two ports. These input ports are just if you want to belt the items in from a storage or whatever, you can do that. But they are totally unnecessary. The trucks will bring it in just the same as everything else. Plus, we don't belt yet. So we're producing 105 maintenance every 60 seconds. We need to have 14 currently, 22 at maximum every 60 seconds. So eventually, this bar is going to fill up, and then it's going to pause the machine for a while. Over here is the overall maintenance for the whole factory, and that's also represented by this bar here. Once this gets up to maximum, then every building, every machine, every vehicle in the factory is going to be properly maintained, and they won't break down. If at some point in the future you do not, you are not producing maintenance sufficiently, then you will have stuff breaking down, and that is a problem. So be careful of that. Be cognizant of that, because if you if your stuff starts breaking down, then you could get into a death spiral and lose your game. So keep an eye on your maintenance. Make sure that this number here, if you have, or the sum of them, if you have multiple of these buildings, is greater than or equal to this number here, and definitely greater than or equal to this number here. So we'll be perfectly fine for quite a while here. Quite a while. Okay, so that's maintenance. We're still unloading this thing. There's still quite a bit of electronics and concrete, iron scrap as well. And we're not even really using electronics yet, although we should, because we need to start making vehicle parts. So we'll start using iron and mechanical parts to make and electronics to make vehicle parts here also. Eventually, this is going to be overwhelmed by making too many things, and we're going to want to make more of these assemblies, and we may want to break apart the recipes so that we have maybe one item being made in each building, like I did in my YouTube series. Although that gets big and unwieldy fast, especially if you're also trying to run belts between the things. So we'll have to think about how we're going to do that type of build in this series, because that didn't work out very well, as anybody who watched that YouTube series was a witness to. The other thing I want to do is take these here. And by the way, if you clone using the C on one of these buildings and you place it, it will automatically have the setting of the product that it accepts. Be careful with that, because if you do that, you will have, they will start dumping iron in this box as soon as it's built. So you may not want that. Instead, if you hold down, I think it's Control, which is interesting that the shortcut keys there aren't telling me that. If you hold down Control, it won't take the settings from that other machine. So keep that in mind. You may want to do that in certain cases, especially. But let's put a few of these down. Hold down Shift to place multiple of them. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then maybe you have wood coming into this. That'll work. Planning on getting your cat a new cat tree for Christmas. Nice. And let's unpause all of these. I'm just going to use the P shortcut key to activate this pause tool. And then I dragged a box around them. Dragged a box around them to select them all. And they will start gathering up the required construction parts and building them all. The spruce. Oh, Jeff. So I want to set each one of these boxes to each one of these 4 output items for right now. And then I also want to bring wood into this part of the factory. So let's first off do the wood here. And this will just allow the trucks from the tree collector here, the tree harvester here, to deliver the wood here when they're bored. When they're bored, which is really useful. And then construction parts. Let's add that in here. And then the next one is mechanical parts. Let's add that in here. And then vehicle parts here. And then finally, electronics can go here. Now, electronics we're not making yet, but we will be. And also we want to unload the electronics from this. So they're going to come and get these 195 electronics, 180 of them, and dump them in here. I think. Yep, there they go. Okay. And I think what I'm also going to do at this point is copy this with its settings and paste it here exactly as the other one is. And then I want to change this slightly. I want to increase the priority of mechanical parts over construction parts on this new one. So we have one where the first item always being made, if they have the input items and there's no backup here, is construction parts. And then we have another one where everything can be, all 3 can be made here, but they prioritize mechanical parts first. So as long as there's iron here, they're going to make mechanical parts. And the good thing about that is that the making of construction parts is not going to hold up the making of mechanical parts totally in the factory. They're kind of helping each other out, and instead of having one machine being governing the whole factory. So we did power maintenance, and I forgot I should have started some more stuff. Let's do that beacon, and then let's do basic diesel, and then we'll do concrete production after that. And then we can continue into the next section after those. But the beacon's going to take a little bit of time, and I should have started it like as soon as it finished the last thing. Oops. You can make more than one research lab. The color of the number here indicates... Actually, let's speed up to speed 3. The color of the number here indicates the difficulty level based on the number of labs you have. So we have 1 lab, so things that are... And by difficulty level, I mean time taken. Because we have 1 lab, things that are 2 are going to be fairly quick. Plus, I also kicked up to speed 3. Things that are 3 will be a little bit longer, 4 a little bit longer, etc. All the way out to, what, these are 40, 42. But I mean, obviously, you're not going to get to those anytime soon. So these are fine. At some point, you want to consider adding another lab. I don't know exactly if there's a guiding point in how many labs you want to have, but it isn't this number. Like you don't want to have necessarily want to have 2 labs for this. I would say, generally speaking, if you have research queued up like this, and you are consistently able to finish building the thing, especially, I mean, these first few are pretty simple, but if you're consistently able to build the whole thing before the next one is available for you to build, like if you're sitting here staring at the screen, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for things to get done, then maybe it's time to add another lab. But remember that labs cost 0.25 Unity per month and 4 workers. So keep that in mind as you are, building labs. And then later labs, the next tier lab requires additional things. So you have to keep tiering up your labs too. There's also something we looked at here. Research Lab 2 requires another material in order to feed it, which is this lab equipment. So you also need to make those. So keep that in mind as to how many labs you want is how many you can feed with the items you have too. So I'll add a second one at some point here, probably in this neighborhood here, 5, maybe 6, maybe, not sure. We'll see. But I don't really have a definite point. By the time we get to mid-game, I'll probably have 3 or maybe 4, but some of these builds out here, when we unlock these things, get very complex, and it takes a little while to, you know, fiddle with and design a decent build for it. So you'll end up tearing through, as long as you have them queued up like we have now, you'll end up tearing through these researches pretty fast and not being able to use them right away anyways. So it's not bad to let the game either pause your labs and let the game not do any research for a little while, or just save up a few and then do that, or whatever. However you want to do it, it works out fine. So you can see these guys are chugging away. This filled up mechanical parts pretty fast, and this is full on mechanical parts because it unloaded the crap from the dock. And I think, actually I know, they will prioritize, especially if we check this. Actually, I should check this. I should have checked this before, in fact, before we set up all this crap. Having the cargo dock here, a shipyard rather, and keep empty means that they will try to use the stuff from this before they use the stuff from anywhere else. You can see the export priority here is 9. These don't really have an export priority at all, so they will come here, they will get the stuff from here, and they will try to use it before they get stuff from elsewhere. Which I probably should have done actually when we started the game, but I forgot all about it. So we finished the beacon research. That didn't take very long. And then we're working on other things. The beacon is here in buildings. Now, I don't really know the difference between general machines and buildings. And I mean, I get what buildings for vehicles are, but why some of these menus exist as opposed to just having all the same? I don't know. But the beacon's here in buildings, and I'm going to put it up here next to the docks. That's out of the way. We could, or not the docks, sorry, the shipyard. Just so it's out of the way. We can put it basically wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. There's no rules on where it goes. It just has to be on a piece of flat ground. And that's building. Let's come over here and take a look at what might be going on. The beacon is ready, and the beacon will just summon people. Of course, it draws power, so you can see the power demand went up. But it'll just summon people to our island every so often. We'll go take a look at that. I want to watch when this is actually working. It took like a couple scoops and then gave up. We have a new alert that we can look at. Farm could not store all potato after harvest. I knew that was going to come eventually. Because, again, we're producing 11.1 potatoes every 60 game seconds, and we're still only consuming 4.3. So we're still producing 2.5 or whatever it is times more than we need. So eventually this farm's internal storage of 100 or 99 fills up, and then they can't output the rest of them. And once that happens, you lose them. So right now it's fine. I mean, it doesn't hurt. But eventually you want to try and meter your farm production to match your consumption as best you can. The beacon is lit. Condor calls for aid. Yes, indeed. And we just got new refugees from the beacon. So, oops, click on the beacon. Expecting 16 refugees in less than 4 months. So every 4 months, or every however many months, we'll get a group of refugees until our occupancy, our housing is completely full, and then the next batch will start complaining because they're homeless. So you have to be careful of that. Keep an eye on this number here and make sure that you don't exceed your settlement capacity unless you want to, including the new refugees that are coming in. So the next 16 will put us up to 130, and then if there's 16 more coming after that, it'll put us in homeless mode. So after the next group comes, I may pause this building so that we don't get any more refugees for a little while, especially because we have 44 workers free right now. We don't really need more than that 16 because that'll put us at 60 free for now. You can clear these alerts if you want. For that one, I probably will clear it. Some of them I won't clear because I want to know that they're there. But I also won't be as crazy as well, Bold Viking, for example, is, and have like a bazillion of those alerts over here either. To where you can't even really keep track of them. All right, so we have lots of potatoes in storage here. More new refugees. So now we're up to the 130, and we're at 130 out of 140. So I want to come in here and pause the beacon for a little while because we're going to get 16 more in 5 months, and I don't want 16 more people. So these people not only brought people, and the first group did as well. Not only did they bring people, they brought stuff. So you kind of got to balance that a little bit with, they're bringing stuff with them, which is good, but they're also taking up space. And yes, we could also clone this and build more of these blocks here so that we can put more people in our island. But then that means that they're going to demand more food. Not that we can't fulfill that demand, because now it's at 5.8, so it's about half. We're producing about twice as much as we need, and then we get the alert again. So we could actually add, like 2 more of these and get a bunch more people in here, and maybe we should, but I don't really want to feed that many mouths if we don't have to. Also, I don't know if you saw, but we had at one point an alert over here, or a notification over here that said that our population increased by 1. And that was natural births. Natural growth in your colony based on births. They will stop having babies when the capacity is reached, but until the capacity is reached, they will have babies every so often. So, and I think the more people you have, the more babies you get, kind of thing, until they get to the capacity, of course. In a little while, we'll get a new technology where we can pause that, but that's in a little while, not now. And here's another one of those points where we're like, okay, what do? We have no technologies to deal with. So do I put down another lab? Maybe. But also Beacon was a very simple one to do, so maybe this is just one of those where you go and get a cup of coffee or something and let the game run off for a minute. That's kind of up to you on how you want to do that, how you want that to function. You can kind of do either. But eventually, the game will get away from you in technology research if you have too many labs. So keep that in mind, too. Okay, yep, there it goes. +1 population. We had a birth. A bonus to health. Nice. No air pollution to speak of, which is interesting. We're not be spewing that much pollution into the air. This pollutes 30 every time it runs. I'm sorry, no. 18 exhaust is half the pollution, so that's 9 pollution. Congrats, yeah. The diesel generator spews out 3 pollution every time. Every time it burns a diesel, it spews 1 air pollution, basically. That's fine. We're not using very much power right now. Actually, not using any power right now because this is paused. We have an internal storage of 630 capacity here. We only use 10 per 60 seconds. And so this won't run again for 10 and a half minutes, basically, which is kind of fun at this stage of the game. What else spews pollution besides, I guess, any of these smokestacks will. The one over here, it's producing 24 exhaust, which is, again, 12 pollution. Yeah, we're still not storing all of our potatoes. But you can see how that kind of works, how it outputs the exhaust, and that turns into pollution. So because we're not really doing a whole lot other than iron smelting, it's pretty tame for now. The next thing we unlock is basic diesel, and before that gets unlocked, we need to once again recall where this oil patch is, which is way over here. So I think we're going to set up a diesel refinery here nearby this oil patch, just so we don't have to run a super long pipe. And I'll keep that selected, I guess, for right now. Basic diesel's finished. We're going to jump into that. Let's turn this off because it's kind of annoying to stare at for too long. But tutorial on health and pollution. We've been looking at that all along. You provide different services to them for health, and then pollution causes sickness, and those all balance out to be a whatever health score. We talked about pollution. There's water pollution, there's air pollution, and is that it? Just the 2? I guess, yeah, it says it here. So, and it's global for the island, so it doesn't matter where the people are. Like you could be spewing out 100 smokestacks right here along the colony, or they could be way the heck over there on that island we can't even get to. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's equal pollution for the entire island. So let's go ahead and set up a small diesel refinery over here, just to kind of get things going. We unlocked with that fluid storage. So that's our second type of storage of 3. We'll get the third one in another tech or two. But the fluid storage is obviously for liquids or gases. Fluids are both liquids and gases. So diesel is obviously a liquid. So that would go into there. We have 2 buildings here, basic distiller and an oil pump. We can see that we unlocked those as part of this here. Basic distiller, oil pump, liquid dump, and the fluid storage are the 4 unlocks we had. So that's those 2 there, plus we have the liquid dump here. If we want to look at ratios, which we do, the basic distiller consumes 54 crude oil plus 6 coal to make 24 diesel plus 12 wastewater plus 36 exhaust. So it needs 54 crude oil every 60 seconds. The oil pump produces 18. If you do the math, that means 3 oil pumps can feed 1 basic distiller nonstop. Let's put the layer thing back on here. And we need to put, well, let's put the oil pumps down first. We need to put the oil pumps in this area someplace. You can see how they can't be put out here. There's no deposit here. But as long as they're touching this, they deplete this circle evenly. It is for any liquids, that includes water, any liquids underground are depleted evenly in the whole patch, no matter where you're at in the patch, whereas solids, like all the ores and stuff, are depleted in the cell, in the tile that they're depleted from, at the height you're at collecting it. So let's go ahead and put down flippity, this one, like, wait a minute, should I do, no, we'll stay here, there, and here, like that, and then I'll get rid of this because it's annoying. So now we have, and actually, did that stay there? Yeah, if actually you don't even need to have the layer thing on. When you have a building ready to build that uses a specific fluid, underground liquid resource, like the oil pump for oil, and then later on the groundwater pumps for the water, it'll show that specific layer to you. So we have these 3. We need to join them together with a pipe, which we'll do in a little bit, and those need to be fed into a single distiller. And I'm just going to put that, I don't know, maybe out here someplace like this. So this distiller has inputs for crude oil and coal, and outputs for wastewater, diesel, and exhaust. So let's do a pipe. One of the kind of fun things with this is if you have either the transports screen selected or a tab selected or a couple of other ones, if you mouse over to where you can see this little icon here, you can see the little arrow, it will automatically select the type of transport that is suitable for that input or output. So it automatically selected the pipe transport, and we just ran out of research. I want to set up some research. Automatically selected the pipe transport on my cursor, and if I click, then it starts to build it, which is really, really useful because then you don't have to worry about, okay, what is this, a solid, or is this a flowing solid, or is this a liquid, input, output, whatever. It helps you with that. Let's go here to the research. Let's do storage, and then ship, dock, repair. Let's do ramps for vehicles, actually, sooner rather than later. Yeah, let's take this one out, put it back in. So I just reorganize these. So this is first, this is second, third, and then we'll do copper and then synthetic rubber, I guess. That should be fine. And then we can go into construction 2. And that'll finish up this line of this section of new, researches. Okay, so we can also use your C tool, your clone tool here, your copy button to select the type of transport or the type of whatever that you want to have. So I want to take this one here and connect it up to this pipe. That'll put a little junction in there, just like we saw with the molten channels earlier. And then I can't actually connect this one like this, which I forgot about. Oh wait, can I? I might be able to actually. No, you can't. Let's actually then take this out. How did I do this before? I did something crazy like this before. What did I do? Oh, I know what I did differently. Okay, let's actually change these all of them. Goodbye. I had a different layout that I liked. I want to do it like this here. And then, oops, copy, flip, one space apart, and then put this one in over here like this. And then when I do this like this, I can connect it up to that. It'll pick one at random. And if you try to do this, it won't work. It tells you that it can't connect. But there's a little sneak thing you can do here to make that work. You come in from the other side, like come in from here and go like this. And it will actually connect. And then you can just delete that little pipe segment, and now you have these connected with the four-way cross and being output onto this pipe. And that can take this one here. Actually, let me change that one again. Changing things. I'm going to put it this way. This one here, like this, and then that needs to actually come into this one here, which is fine, because it can't connect to that. I could have also put this back here, and then run the pipe up this way too. Either way works. That makes it should be cleaner. Let's do that instead. Delete that. If you hold down your shift key with your delete tool, it'll delete the whole segment, which is sometimes very useful. There. Okay, so now we have a blueprint of a basic distiller oil refinery. We do need to have a smokestack here, like this. And we do need to have a pipe going out to the ocean where we're going to put in a liquid dump. And that'll go in roughly in this area. Like that. And then we need to run a pipe out to that. I don't know exactly which line it should be on here. Or maybe I just go straight. Yeah, let's just go straight out this way. Like that. And then I think I can just do... Wait, why you no connect? There it goes. Okay. So that's connected. And I think then we just need the diesel output. And I think I'm just going to do a fluid storage right here. At least for now. And that's probably good right there. And we need a fluid pipe to connect that to that. And then we are good to go. Now this is all still paused. We need to unpause it. I'm going to use the P shortcut for the pause tool and highlight the whole thing. If you highlight extra stuff, it kind of will do only one type of action. So if I highlight extra stuff, it won't just pause that machine or that building or do anything to that building, because it says, hey, higher priority is to unpause paused crap than pausing unpaused crap. So I'm going to do the unpausing as the set, and I'm just going to ignore that one thing, which is really good. Really good. Okay, so this stuff's all getting built. Tutorial on diesel production. I kind of just yammered through the whole thing, so I think we're good on that. And we also now can build concrete, which we will do shortly. 2 of the pump jacks are done. They are pumping and jacking. They will make whatever their internal storage can hold, which isn't much. Oh, now it just went out into the pipe and into this junction here, which does hold quite a bit in the junction, the connector. 61, in fact. And that's, yeah. That's the wrong command. I know what you're doing. You're doing it on purpose. I know. And then that's going to pipe this crude oil into this distillery. And the distillery, the trucks are bringing in the coal automatically for us because the truck import is on auto. I didn't talk about these earlier. The truck import export here. Auto means that the truck will deliver until the building is getting it via a transport, being these kind of transports, and then it will stop trying to deliver each product, the inputs. Off means never deliver. On means always deliver if possible. And then the export works the same way in reverse. Export what you can, and then after that, stop. Basically, once it can be transported out, then don't collect it anymore. So the trucks shouldn't try to collect diesel from the distiller. They should only collect it from the fluid storage. And they shouldn't try to collect wastewater, because wastewater is getting dumped out this way, although it's not, because I didn't set the recipe on it. This pipe is probably pretty full of wastewater. It is. And so we need to select wastewater here as a dumpable option. We can dump 4 things in the ocean right now. Wastewater, water, brine, and seawater. Although we can't actually get some of these at all in the game, so that's fine. right now because we haven't unlocked the technologies. But wastewater causes water pollution on a one-to-one basis. So keep that in mind as you're making basic diesel, because for every unit of diesel you make a half a unit of wastewater, which means you make a half a unit of water pollution. And then they will get sick and mad eventually with you here. All these services we can eventually offer to them that we don't have yet. Let's see. But they haven't gotten sick or mad with us yet, so that's kind of a good thing. Wait, how do we see the people thing here? We have 136 people thanks to the births. We have a little bit of positive health, no active disease. That's good. We do have a little bit of water pollution shown here, of course, but we are making diesel. So now we do not have to rely on this 519 diesel anymore. We have a not unlimited, but a long limited quantity. Logistics, I think I probably chattered at through all this. To see transports, see, we don't have them all unlocked yet. That's what a belt looks like, by the way. But we just did logistics with pipes. There's only a couple other things that we can do here. One of those is limiting the storages. You can either say, hey, keep the storage full, or hey, keep the storage empty at a certain level or completely. And then you can also do, but those sliders only affect the trucks, not belts or other connected transports. And then the other thing here is, what was the other thing here? I forgot there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about with the transports. Oh, with the pipes and the belts and the things, they do have a direction. You can see the arrows on them. You can toggle the direction. If you placed it in the wrong direction, then you may have to toggle it. Keep that in mind. Okay, so we now have two things we can build. We have concrete production, we have storage. I'm going to skip concrete production for right now and go into storage. Storage gives us one new building, I think just one, right? Yeah, just one. The loose storage. Supported products, actually you can see all the supported products there on the tooltip. That's useful if you can tell the icons. Supported products are the rolly fall off the belt things. So your ores, your dirt, your potatoes, your waste, those types of things, anything that could roll off a flat belt are called loose items. So those need to have a specific kind of belt, and they also need to have a specific kind of storage. And this is the storage. So what I want to do with these storages is I want to put one over by the coal mine. Over here someplace. I'm going to put it nearby the the mine control tower-ish. And what that'll do is if we set it to coal, rolling, keep those taters rolling. Yep. And once they come and build this, here they come now. They zoom along, don't they? Then this will accept coal. And this truck will keep this, will dump its coal into this storage, and we'll try to we'll go through filling it up. The cool thing is, the truck will always try to deliver to the nearest thing that it can. So it's going to keep trying to deliver coal to here. And oh, by the way, this is also still making coal, which we should probably stop. Actually, yes, let's stop that. Let's delete that. We shouldn't need to make coal out of trees anymore. So let's not do that, in fact. Go ahead and empty that sucker out. That'll be fine. Where are you going? Oh, you're probably going to get some diesel. Refueling. So we don't need to continue making coal once we started mining this. I should have deleted that earlier, and I forgot. Clear the storage thing there. So we now have 172, almost 180 coal. The trucks from the base, now the random trucks, will actually come and get that coal and deliver it to here, and deliver it to here, instead of the mining tower trucks delivering it to here necessarily. So you kind of get to get back some of your performance on the trucks associated with the mine, because they don't have to drive all the way across the base anymore. They can just deliver it to a local-ish storage, and then the base handles the rest. The unassigned trucks, the generically assigned trucks, handle the rest. All right, so we can start taking a look at concrete production, but it's kind of one that I don't really do this early because we have a ridiculous amount of concrete blocks slabs here anyway, 1,000 more, so we're kind of fine. We're also really good on iron, so we don't necessarily need to set up an iron mine just yet, but we're still working on the next thing here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. I just seed on this, and I want to see where the iron ends. I think I'm going to do this over here. I'm going to put in this mine control tower, say right here. I'm going to control click it so that it doesn't remember any settings from the other one, just in case. And I want to actually talk about one other thing here too, and that is this quick deliver using Unity. If you click this button, the trucks don't need to deliver the items. If you have them available in the storage anywhere in your base, whether that's the cargo, the shipyard, one of these storage boxes, or the building that makes them, you can click this quick deliver button and they will be instantly delivered to the building, and the building will start building immediately if you have them in stock. But it cost me Unity. It cost me 0.6 Unity. Now I have 35.2, so who cares? But it cost me 0.6 Unity, so keep that in mind. You can build things quickly with that. Especially if you're like making tweaks to things that you want to be active really quickly. It's really, really useful to do. And then you don't overwhelm your base trucks delivering a bunch of items to a construction site. So we're going to set this up, but I'm not going to make an excavator and assign it here yet. We're just going to do, hey, let's set up actually I need to do this part first. Let's edit this area. And let's do, that's a big one. Can I do the whole thing? No, I can't. Okay, then never mind then. Edit the area, come over here maybe to this general spot like that, and just make that big area right there as much as you can. There you go. And we're going to want nothing to be dumped here. We're going to eventually assign a truck and an excavator to it, and they will mine iron. And we could do the same thing for copper. We could do the same thing for limestone. But we have all those construction blocks in here still, and then we also have, we can use eventually, cement to make more construction blocks before we have to actually mine limestone. So we can kind of wait a little bit on that. But there is one component to concrete production that I might want to start doing sooner rather than later. And so we're going to do that in a moment after I do the ramp for vehicles. So here in the building for vehicles, we now have 3 ramps, small, medium, and large. The difference between these is fairly negligible. I don't think width is any different. They're about a half of a block wide, all of them. Yeah, the width isn't any different. It's the length and also the tunnels underneath that are different. So the small one has 3 tunnels, and these tunnels can be used for any transports, pipes or belts, to run things under these. So we're gonna use this like this. Maybe right here. And the good thing about this is it's going to give the trucks a shortcut to dump the waste where they're going to dump the waste. You probably saw the last truck to collect this, or a truck that collected from here came around this new build we did here because they couldn't cross this pipe. So they came around and they went in this way. Now they can come straight to this ramp and across in there. And one thing I also didn't show about the pipes and the other transports for that matter is you can adjust the height, and trucks and excavators that we have now can go under the pipes if they are at height 2 or higher. That's height 2. So you do Q and E. You can see that there behind my head. This is height 0, height 1, height 2, height 3, and that's as high as it goes. So anything 2 or 3 they can drive under. And I did that a lot in my YouTube series. I put the pipes up high. But I came to realize that gets messier than it should be. And it actually a lot of times it's easier just to run these pipes on the ground and just put ramps in a lot of different places. So that works. So there's 3 underpasses here on the small. There are 2 sets of 3 underpasses here on the medium. And then on the large, there are 2 sets of 3 on the outside. And then 1 set of 4 that is double height in the middle. So on the large one, you can get 3, 6, plus 8, you can get 14 transports through one of these large ones. So keep that in mind also as you are as you're building. If you want to have like some sort of a bus system connecting things across your base, let's say I wanted to have a huge bus going along the, along this way or something, I could put large ramps in, and that could handle 14 pipes, belts, and pipes, flat conveyors, and U-shaped conveyors, which we'll get to here, actually. Let's do this one first, though, and then this one. Or not first, but I mean next, and then these, like that, I guess. Doesn't really matter. So concrete production, that's going to be based around limestone. What time are we at? Yeah, we can start this. I don't know if we'll finish it or not. But that's based around limestone, so I want to take a look at the layer again. That's there. Let's do this maybe in this area here. There's quite a bit of components to the concrete stuff. The first part is the rotary kiln that takes the raw limestone out of the ground plus some coal and turns it into cement and exhaust. So we could use one of those eventually. That has an output of 3. The next step in the process, the thing that takes the concrete from there, is the concrete mixer. But that needs to have crushed slag and or crushed gravel to make it. So one of these produces 3 cement. One of these consumes 3 cement. So we kind of have a 1-to-1 thing here. Let's see, you're there-ish. Yeah. So this needs water plus one or both of these crushed things and cement and to make the concrete slabs. Now, of course, like I said before, we don't really need them just yet because we have 1,000 of them still. Oh, we dumped all the electronics in the box now, finally. And we still have a lot of iron scrap, too. But eventually we'll want to run a belt between this and this. But we also need to make crushed slag and crushed rocks. So we need to have crushers, which we saw in this screen here. Yes. Crushers. These will take 24 slag, turn into 24 crushed slag, 24 rocks, and turn into 24 gravel, aka crushed rocks. So I want to do that. Let's see. And these have an input up high for whatever weird reason, and an output down low. So I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one on the other side. And I will show you why I'm doing both. But let's just pretend that I'm doing them both for a good reason, because I am. So then we have those two. And then we also need to have, ideally, someplace to bring in the slag and or the gravel. And that would be a loose storage here. But you can see that these would need to have a belt ramping them up. So I need to back this up enough, which I think that's enough, but I could be wrong, in order to connect a belt from this here up to there, because we don't have the belts yet. And then I can designate this one for, let's say, slag. And then this can be the slag crusher. And then I can designate this one for rock, and this can be the rock crusher. And then I can feed one or both of those into the concrete mixer, and I can make one or both of these recipes. And so I will. Now, we're not making any slag yet, because right now we're still only smelting iron and only from scrap, and that does not produce any slag. Eventually, we'll be smelting iron from ore, and that will produce some slag. So at that point, we'll want to have the slag, or want to use the slag to make concrete. Otherwise, we'll end up dumping it over there in the ocean. So we have this, and this also needs water. Now, this is the first thing we've seen that takes water. And the only way we can get water, the first way we can get water is via these rainwater harvesters. They will collect water from the rain, and they will provide it onto a pipe. They have an internal buffer of 40, and we can easily make that bigger by including a fluid storage. I'm going to put it right here because it kind of fits nicely in that little slot. And then we can do the, not the C, just the arrow thing here, and put in this pipe here. I don't know why you're not snapping. Oh, I know why you're not snapping. I had the R key selected. Move my head again. R here has a little magnet icon. That will automatically connect things if they're close. Sometimes you want that on, sometimes you want it off. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you are. There we go. So I just ran a pipe up one level, over and above what will eventually be a conveyor belt connecting these two. And that way I can connect the water from this into this stuff. So I want to build these for sure, and I want to build these for sure, but I don't think I want to build the rest just yet. The only reason I'm building this is just to stockpile some water. And that's all I'm going to do for the concrete production for now. Eventually we're going to make, there's more recipes coming, and we're going to make it a bit bigger and a bit more organized and a bit more automated. But for now, we don't need the concrete being made, and it'll just confuse things if we are making it while we're also trying to harvest it from here, or we're also trying to get rid of the cement that's here in the shipyard storage. So I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to go ahead and clear the concrete production because for now it's good enough. Once we are ready, we can turn these on. By that point, we'll have the belts, so we'll be able to connect the belts up nicely, and we'll be good to go, I think. TM. Okay, and so we just unlocked also the ship dock repair, and we can go ahead and do that just by clicking on the dock, and now we have this repair button here. This is going to cost us 75 of our 207 stored up construction parts, so let's go ahead and repair the ship. And the trucks will deliver those parts to the thing, or repair the dock, I'm sorry. The trucks will deliver those parts as you would expect over there. And it'll fill up here, and it'll start, repairing the shipyard. Actually, let's keep it selected. I'm gonna actually clear this too. And now the ship dock is ready. It gives a tutorial to say, hey, that you can do the thing now, and that's fine. I don't really worry about it that much. To start with, your ship has an engine, your ship has a bridge, and that's it. There's no other options here to replace these parts. There are no guns, there are no armors, there are no extra fuel tanks. We have 1,000 hit points on our ship. Armor would increase that, I assume. It takes 15 crew. It doesn't do any damage. It doesn't have any range on the damage because it doesn't have any guns. The fuel tank holds 80 units of diesel. And we have 0 radar range and 0 battle score. And we'll get into that as we get into that. So here's our ship. It also needs to be repaired. It's at 410 health, 41% out of 1,000. So we need to repair that. And that's going to take 124 iron plates to repair. So the trucks will again come down here. They will snag 125 iron plates out of this box or out of these. And they will dump them into here, the shipyard, which will then pass them along into the ship to repair the ship. And that'll go. Once we get past the green line here, the ship is actually serviceable, but it doesn't let you stop at the green line. It fills it up all the way. But later, if we take damage and we get down, but not down to this line, which I think is 90%, it will still let us use it. But if it gets below the green line, then we have to repair it again before we can use the ship again. There's also an auto repair option here. And so I'm just going to turn it on because why the heck not? We'll let the ship auto repair itself. If there comes a point in the future where we can't repair the ship because we don't have the resources, we could turn that off temporarily. But if we're that starving out of resources, then I think we should probably figure something else out, like actually fix the factory. And speaking of fixing the factory, we're going to fix it here. The ship was fully repaired. We got an alert up here. That's fine. We'll clear that. We also have a tutorial for world exploration, and we're going to look at world exploration on Thursday. We're going to leave this here for now, and we're going to find ourselves a raid target. I think we'll raid... let's raid Mr. Taco. He is playing Satisfactory. It is Taco Tuesday, so... stick around for the raid and say hello to Mr. Taco. We'll come back again on Thursday for more Captain of Industry, and we will continue our factory here, our town here, our whatever you want to call this colony here, and see if we can, we'll probably start smelting some copper at some copper is over there. Start smelting some copper at some point. We may get into more of this here for the concrete. We'll probably get another level of diesel in the next one. We'll get some more farm action going on here. We've already selected for doing irrigated farms and crop rotation. useful for anybody who's interested in the game or isn't sure about the game, and hope it convinces you to check it out if you're interested. And so I want to thank everyone for coming and chatting and hanging out with me. Thanks for the redeems, and we will see you all on Thursday. It'll be, of course, the usual shorter time, but I will see you all on Thursday for more Captain of Industry. Have a good night, everyone. Bye for now.